We are gathered here today to talk about Stranger Things Season 5. Okay, the last time I talked about Stranger Things, I talked about Will and the homophobia around his coming out scene in Volume 2. I also did a video before that talking about Byler and how I thought that Byler was going to happen, which it didn't. I'm going to make an updated video of my whole opinion on it. It's going to be a fun video. I'm going to enjoy putting that out. But yeah, that's the last time I talked about Stranger Things. I'm not on my channel. I don't really like to talk too much about like giving like reviews in like the traditional sense, but because of the discussion around it and everything, I want to do like a quick video just off the top of the dome talking about some things that I some things that, you know, my opinion about this season, I guess, and just my perspective on it. I don't have any notes or anything, so I'm just gonna be just talking just to talk, just kind of like saying some things I don't necessarily like about it. The first thing I want to say is that it's crazy how the fans had so much better, like they're like almost like if you left it to the fans, like it would Stranger Things is like the ending would have been so much more interesting. I think that what was upsetting is that like while everybody thought that I think we gave the writers too much credit. Honestly, I think we gave the Duffer brothers too much credit because I was thinking it's gonna be like this intricate thing. We've been seeing so many signs, this and that. Like it really seemed like it was gonna be something that was gonna be so interesting and how everything was just gonna piece together in like a crazy way. You had people, you know, taking certain symbolisms and putting together different theories in such an interesting way that really got you invested in Stranger Things. And I feel like they played a huge part in like all of us as fans really being excited about Stranger Things in the first place. It was really the fans, honestly, the theories and all kinds of stuff. And it really like it's time to be alive, you know. I feel like 20 years from now, 30ish years ago, when we look back at this thing, they're talking about this show in a documentary, that's gonna probably come up is about the theories, and we'll get to reminisce about like, yeah, this is what it was like around that time, all the theories and stuff. It was a fun, like it was a great experience. It was really fun. So it's sad the fact that like the theories though, like what we were hoping for, what we were thinking was gonna happen, and it being something so ass that was just kind of like, bro, that's it.
What was that?
Like I swear to you, when I got to the scene where we found out about the whole situation, about, you know, the whole wormhole situation, I was just like, that's it, really? That's what. He's just trying to bring it all down to earth and whatever. I'm like, that's so boring to me. Like, he's just trying to bring it all together. I'm like, that is, like, I was so disappointed. I kid you not. Like, I was already hard enough for me to watch, like, the first season was okay. I was like, okay, whatever, watching it, interesting, so on and so forth. Volume 2 was boring as hell. That was so boring for me. Season 2 was boring, and not season 2, but volume 2 was boring for me. So when we found out what was actually going on, I'm like, wow, this is like I can't express to you like how much it put me off to not caring about the finale, just because I was just so unimpressed with their whole, like the whole thing. Like I was just kind of like, this is it, bro? We got these long ass monologue scenes that just kind of felt like they were boring. Like I kind of zoned out. Some of them I kind of zoned out for a little minute on some of them because they're just dragging out for so long. Like the whole thing with Nancy and Jonathan, I was like, this is boring. And somebody said the room looked like, you know what? Yeah. I'm gonna go there, but that was kind of funny. It's kind of true though. Like, what's up with that? Like, why did it look like that? Anyways, it was just kind of like, you know. Then you had the finale with Jonathan talking to Steve, and it was just kind of like, this is just okay, like cool. I mean, even though I'm happy Steve didn't die, and I think that it was cool how they brought it to where they're cool with each other or whatever. Cool, I guess, whatever. I don't feel like we needed that long of a monologue scene between the two of them, because I was like, well, they never really were that cool to begin with, so it just kind of like, I don't really care. I mean, cool, but I don't know, like it was just kind of like a lot of talking. And when it actually came down to the plot and I guess the whole thing that came down, like the upside down and everything, I'm like, this is very insignificant. And also, like a lot of people were saying, like they really made the upside down just a gloomier like earth or whatever, like a gloomier dimension, whereas before it was really something out of a horror. Like you couldn't be in the upside down for more than 5 minutes without coming into contact with some sort of danger. You know what I'm saying? Like there are the bats, there are those what you call it, something dogs, demi dogs, something, whatever they call them, and then you got like the the demogorgons and all the other kind of stuff. Like, there's danger everywhere. And you mean to tell me, and also the air too, you can't even breathe in the air. That's another thing. Like, you literally could not breathe that air, you know, without like really getting sick and shit. So my thing is just like, the fact that by the end of the series that none of that stuff was even there, they're in the Upside Down, didn't come across any type of danger. Actually, like, it was kind of a chill place to be. Like, I could just go there and hang out to get away from the regular life and just get there, get some, you know, just go visit every now and then and just relax. Because where's the danger? Like, when they're in the building, I forgot what episode it was, but of course the episode with Nancy and then Jonathan having a conversation, like that building, I was expecting something to pop out of nowhere, but nothing happened. you had Dustin off by himself, Steve off by himself, no type of danger, no type of, oh, we should be worried about, you know, danger. Like, no, it was just kind of just like, it was very, very disappointing. And I feel like it would have added some more interesting stuff if they still included those things. I think the only time we really seen the bats was like when that facility that was over there with them doing the experience and stuff, but they had like some bats or whatever flying around, but they didn't pose any sort of danger like they usually would. Like, those are some vicious like bats. Like, so what's going on with that? Like, there's no sort of like danger in that sense. That's the thing. And then even with the whole battle with Vecna, I was just like, that's it. Like, y'all could have all just went to that little hive thing and just killed his ass, like, just that easily. That big ass thing, I forgot what you call it, I forgot what it's called, that spider looking thing, I thought that was gonna really pose a threat, but I'm like, you mean to tell me that's all it took to take that thing down? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. And then, you know, Vecna, whatever, Henry, if you will, number one, if you will, he put up a fight, but it wasn't really that significant. I know somebody made the point that he was fighting on many different fronts, and so of course he was weakened, which made it easier to defeat him. But it's just kind of like all these seasons led up to this point when they were able to defeat like the enemy in like a couple of minutes. And also, how did they get on top of the mountain so fast? That's another thing too. That didn't make any sense to me. I was like, Nancy should have been dead, let's be honest. And the fact that I know a lot of people were talking about that, how nobody like died, I kind of had a feeling that they would kill the sister off. I didn't expect her to be like the good one, but like, I was expecting her to betray or something. That would have been more interesting if she was bad. Honestly, if I'm being honest, like if she was evil, that would have been more interesting than the story that we actually got. Where Joyce was chopping the head off of Henry, or Vecna, whatever you want to call him. That was satisfying just because it did make you reflect on everything over the past couple seasons, all the losses and everything else. So just kind of painted, like, just kind of like made you realize even more that, wow, like the stakes really weren't, like, they were high in season 5, but it's like nobody was really like dying like that. You know, like before in earlier seasons, it really seemed like something that was like really dangerous, something you should really be afraid of or whatever. But it's just like, it just made you really think about, wow, like it made you feel even more underwhelmed how everything went, in my opinion, just because it seemed like everything kind of lightened up a bit in the last season. Like it wasn't really that scary, or like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't what anybody would have expected. And the fact that there's so much that they could have done with the story and we got what we got, I understand why people were talking about Conformity Gate, which happened last night. Nothing ever showed up. There was no new episode. But, you know, some people had their hopes up. But yeah, I mean, it was so underwhelming that you would hope that wasn't the real outcome. And so, yeah, it was just boring. And then, like, I think the whole reflections on pretty much the other half of the episode being dedicated to, you know, pretty much what happens to everybody. Like, Elle sacrifices herself, like, whatever. And everybody pretty much has to go back to normal life. And I don't know, man. Bittersweet, I guess. Like, I mean, it was kind of cool to see like how things kind of ended up, but honestly for me it was just kind of like, oh, like, I don't know, it was sad. I guess it was like sad, you could feel it, but at the same time it was just kind of like, this is not how I would have wanted things to end, in a sense. Like even with Lucas, I'm like, did we forget that he literally had like a whole basketball thing he was doing? Why is his future hinged upon Max and vice versa? Like, I don't really know what Max would have wanted to do with her life, but why does that have to be, oh, Lucas and Max together? Like, I would have liked to see, like, of course, them being together in the future. Like, that was cute and everything. They got to go to their movie, all that. But I would like to see, like, their lives independent of each other, because, like I said, Lucas was doing basketball and he was really good at it. So what happened with that? Did he go to college for basketball? Max, what did she decide to do? You know what I mean? Like, they didn't really like go beyond the character development with those two, which is kind of annoying. They did both grow throughout the series, which is good, but like I feel like they could have done more. And I feel like in season 5 it was mainly focused on each other and their relationship, which is kind of like, you know, I just felt like it was kind of upsetting in a sense. And then like with everybody else, I mean, cool, whatever, you know. A lot of people were wondering what happened with Robin and then her girl. I'm sorry, I don't remember the girl's name that she was with, but like what happened with that situation. What happened to Dustin and that one girl from the radio? They were a great match. I don't know what happened with that. I hope they didn't break up or whatever, but like it was sad not to really have any context on what happened with that. Nobody knows what happened to Murray. It's like a lot of different things. There's still a lot of questions, but like I walked out of that theater because my friends, I have some solid friends. They had got me tickets. We all went, and like by the time I walked out of that theater, I was just kind of like, okay, like it's just like one of those type of things where, okay, I don't really care. It's kind of like, okay, there was no itch. There was no itch for more. It was just kind of like I just felt content. I think I was just tapped out from the whole thing. I was just kind of like, oh well, whatever. I'm satisfied. But outside of that, like that's kind of like how I felt about the whole thing. I know there's a lot more to it, but there are a lot of inconsistencies that happened in season 5. It seemed like they just kind of threw things together when it's disappointing because they had years to kind of put something together that would have been significant. And how they were hyping it up and marketing it, you would think that it was going to be something very interesting, mind-blowing. I don't know what they were expecting us to react to this whole thing. I feel like they wrapped up the storylines pretty well, which is why they had those long dialogue scenes between characters. I already talked about the Will scene. I feel like that was very much necessary. If you want to know my full, you know, perspective on that, you can watch my other video on Will. But I feel like that was a great touch. We got to tie that up. But there was no Byler, even though at some point I was concerned, especially after the graduation, and they're trying to figure out if they want to go to the party or not because they're invited to a party. And then Mike was like, no, I have a better idea. And then they went to the radio station. I thought it was going to be the boys, but no, it ended up being Nancy or whatever. And I was thinking that, okay, before I seen who was actually like on the building, I was thinking, oh shit, is Byler actually gonna happen? Because that picture that like Mike kissing Will looked like it was in the same area, like the same scene. So I was like, oh my god, what if it happens? And then to see it was only Nancy and Jonathan and all them, it was just kind of like, oh, okay. So that's when I knew that Byler wasn't gonna happen. But there was for a moment where I thought that it would. And even when it comes down to Elle, I think that how she did that whole thing, I mean, I get it, I guess, like, especially if she faked her death. I guess it was necessary. Whether or not she's alive, I personally think that she is. I've seen some footage showing that she went inside of the building, that she ran, got inside the building, and it was pretty much what my cat theorized. I hope that she's alive. I personally think that she is, and I feel like maybe Mike will, in my imagination, I'm just gonna assume that Mike goes there someday and they just live together by the waterfalls, have a little family, you know. That's my hope, you know. But overall, I think that for a lot of people this is genuinely like a sad, like disappointing way to end such an iconic and amazing series that's literally like been something that's pivotal within the culture, you know, like, you know what I mean, like people have grown up with this cast and everything, and to get the finale and it seems so, it don't feel like there's no love in that. Like I don't feel like it was like, I just feel like it was disappointing, like all this led up to this. I've been telling people, if I were to ever rewatch this series, I would skip season 5. I'll probably still watch 4, but season 5 I would not even bother watching that. That's just how mediocre it is in my opinion. But I'm sure there's other stuff too, like even with I mean, I'm happy about Hopper and Joyce. That was cute. I feel like Joyce didn't really get to say much or do much. I also feel like Elle, she didn't really seem herself within the last season. Like I don't know about the performance wise, like it just, I don't know, she just didn't really seem herself in my opinion. I feel like she just seemed kind of empty, and not empty, but like it wasn't really giving this season. I know some people were talking about Will's acting, and I feel like everybody's acting was kind of just like off. I feel like Lucas's acting was on point though. His acting was great. Max did pretty good. Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I said a whole lot of nothing just now. I'm pretty much saying everything that everybody else has said, but it was all in all, like, guys, I'm glad that we got a final season or whatever, but it definitely wasn't what I expected and what I don't think anybody else is expecting either. But I'm glad that we got a final season. So needless to say, this series ended off with more questions than answers. But at this point, I just don't have the energy to really care. I feel like I said before, a lot of people have kind of come to the conclusion that the fans have better like theories than anything. I feel like we just come up with our own we pretty much create our own finale, to be honest with you, our own final season, what happened. And that's what's sad. It's like, how do people do better than actual creators is the thing. So maybe it's because one of the Duffer brothers got divorced by the wife that was helping him write the show. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe because she wasn't helping out with this season, it all went downhill. But I heard that Millie Bobby Brown also didn't think the writing was so good or something like that. So I don't know, man. That's just my little quick opinion about everything. But yeah.